My cell phone alarm went off exactly at noon, the relentless reminder that my 30-minute lunch break would begin in 5 minutes. I tossed the vegan sandwich onto the desk and wiped off my red lipstick. It was Wednesday, 12 p.m. in San Francisco, which meant 4 p.m. in Villanova, the quiet town where my father still lived. This was our weekly 7-minute window. I clicked the video call icon, and there he was. The image froze for a moment, showing me only his crooked nose and furrowed brow. Dad! The signal is bad again. You look like a pixelated robot. Pixel what? His voice came through choppy, like a scratched vinyl record. I am in the living room, next to the modem. Are you sure you can't hear me? I laughed, a quick, exhausted laugh from someone who had been through this countless times. I can hear you, but the video is lagging. Are you using the charger I sent you? You can't use your old phone charger. Of course I am. Look. He tried to turn the camera to show the cable, but ended up pointing the lens at the moldy ceiling. I look upside down, don't I? The screen turned gray for a second. A piece of junk, this thing. It's not junk, Dad. It's just a little demanding. I watched him. He wore the same beige wool sweater he had worn since my last Christmas at home, 3 years ago. His face looked a little thinner, and the wrinkles around his eyes, a little deeper. My stomach twisted with the familiar pang of guilt for being 6,000 miles away. So, how was the walk today? Did you remember to take your vitamins? He nodded. The image took 2 seconds to reach me. I remembered. Everything is fine here. But, daughter, I need to talk to you about an important matter. About the house, and what we are going to. The timer on my watch showed I had only 2 more minutes before I had to enter the meeting about the launch of a new software that would change the world, supposedly. I didn't have time for important matters that required paperwork and slowness. Dad, about the house, we've talked about it. Don't sell anything yet. And about what we are going to do, can we talk calmly on Thursday? But Clara, it's about I have to go, Dad. The alarm is going to go off. I leaned into the screen, giving my pixelated father a virtual kiss. I love you very much, okay? Thursday for sure, and don't skip breakfast. Bye. I hung up before he could reply. I took a deep breath, feeling the emptiness and the faint scent of guilt. He had something to tell me, and I cut him off with the urgency of someone fleeing a fire. Life in San Francisco was like that, ruthless with everything that wasn't urgent, including love. I hung up the phone, the virtual kiss with my pixelated father still fresh in my memory. I took a deep breath, feeling the emptiness and the faint scent of guilt. He had something to tell me, and I cut him off with the urgency of someone fleeing a fire. Life in San Francisco was like that, ruthless with everything that wasn't urgent, including love. The software launch meeting was a blur of buzzwords and impressive charts. I was physically present, but my mind wandered to my father's beige sweater and furrowed brow. Important matter, about the house, and what we will. It was so typical of him to drag things out. But an uncomfortable twinge told me that maybe, just maybe, this time it was different. That night, I lay in bed, the laptop still lit, showing more engagement graphs. I picked up my phone, my hand hesitating over his contact icon. He would be sleeping. It was too late in Villanova. Thursday for sure. I had promised. I had to trust the promise. Thursday arrived and, with it, a crisis at work. A critical bug in the new software, demanding my full attention for 18 hours straight. My 7-minute window with my father vanished beneath a mountain of code and global conference calls. I sent a quick text. Dad, sorry. Work emergency. I'll call tomorrow, promise. No reply. I thought about calling his neighbor, Mrs. Laura, but decided I was overreacting. He was a stubborn man, but strong. An engineer, used to fixing things himself. On Friday, my phone alarm went off at 4 p.m., this time for the promised chat window. I called Dad. The phone rang and went to voicemail. I tried again. Voicemail. My heart sped up. He must have gone for a walk and forgot his phone, I muttered to myself, trying to sound convincing. But the truth was, my father never forgot his phone. He always carried it, even if he only used it to take pictures of his garden. I tried calling Mrs. Laura. The phone rang for an unbearable time before a sleepy voice answered. Laura, it's me, Clara. Is my father okay? I can't reach him. There was a silence on the other end. A silence that seemed to stretch across continents. Clara, my dear, Mrs. Laura finally said, her voice choked. Why didn't you call me earlier? Your father is in the hospital. The world turned upside down. Hospital. Father. Silence. I don't remember hanging up. I don't remember packing my suitcase. I remember booking the first flight to Brazil I could find, without thinking about the price or the layover. The 12 hours of travel were a blur of anxiety and self-reproach. Every second in the air was one more second of guilt. My father's words, important matter, about the house, and what we will, echoed in my head. He was trying to tell me something, and I was too busy with the pixels of my life. I arrived in Vila Nova in the middle of the night, exhausted and in a panic. The municipal hospital was small, with peeling walls, very different from the high-tech medical centers in San Francisco. Mrs. Laura was there, at the reception, waiting for me with swollen eyes. He's stable, Clara, she said, hugging me. But it was a scare. A mild heart attack. He had surgery a few hours ago. Heart attack. The word hit me like a punch. But he was fine. On Wednesday he was fine. He wanted to tell me about the house. Mrs. Laura held me by the shoulders. The house is fine, my dear. He wanted to tell you about his heart. He found out a few weeks ago that he needed surgery. He wanted you to be home to be with him. The tears I had held back for 12 hours finally fell. He didn't want to talk about the house. He wanted to tell me he was sick, that he was scared. He wanted his daughter to be there. And I ignored him. We walked to the room. My father was pale, connected to monitors that beeped softly. He was sleeping, or seemed to be. The beige sweater was folded on a chair. I sat down next to the bed, took his hand. It was cold. I looked at his aged face, and the wrinkles around his eyes seemed to scream all the unspoken words, all the cut-off calls. Dad, I whispered, my voice thick. I am so sorry. So sorry. I spent the next few days at the hospital, refusing to leave. My life in San Francisco became a distant, irrelevant noise. The 15-minute meetings and software launches seemed pathetic in the face of my father's fragility. When he finally woke up, he looked at me with those brown eyes that were a wearier version of mine. Daughter! His voice was weak. You came. Of course I came, Dad, I said, holding back tears. I would always come. I tried to call you. He began. I know, Dad. I'm so sorry. I was distracted. Work. He squeezed my hand. Don't blame yourself, Clara. I know what your life is like. It's a different pace. But I just wanted you to know. I didn't want to scare you over the phone. I wouldn't have been scared. I would have come right away. I looked him in the eye, with an honesty we hadn't allowed ourselves in years. I should have listened better. I should have prioritized you. He smiled, a small smile, but it lit up the room. You are here now. That is what matters. I spent the week in the hospital, and then at his house, caring for him while he recovered. The video calls were replaced by real conversations, long and slow. We sat on the porch, He talked about the garden, about Mrs. Laura, about memories of my mother. I talked about my work, but without the rush, without the need to impress. He listened, truly listened. One afternoon, while having coffee on the porch, he handed me a crumpled envelope. "See this? It's the paperwork for the house. I wanted to talk about what you wanted to do with it. If you wanted to sell it, if you wanted to renovate it. You are the only one left." I took the papers. My vision blurred. "Dad, the house is not the most important thing. You are. And I won't sell. This is my home too. And I will always come back." He looked at me, and a glimmer of what looked like peace came into his eyes. "So, are you going to stay for a few more days?" I smiled. "Yes, Dad. For as many days as you need. And after that, I'll make sure we have many more 7-minute windows that last a whole afternoon." I had come to San Francisco to build a life, but I realized that the true connection was in Villanova, in the slow pace and the uninterrupted conversations. My father and I still had threads to reconnect, but now I knew the value of every single one of them.